Hey guys, in this part of this course, we're going to start adding the realistic hair on Einstein. First, I'm going to have to delete the 3D mesh that I've done previously for the hair of Einstein. I'm just going to delete that. And then go into my subtool with Einstein's face on there. Now, how I'm going to do the hair is I'm going to be doing it section by section. So I'm going to be masking parts of Albert Einstein's head and then growing out the fiber mesh from each of those masked areas. Rather than selecting the entire scalp, the entire head, and extruding it all at once, I rather do it section by section because I feel that I have more control of where the hair is going to go, and it gives me more variation when I do that. So, going to my masking, I'm going to just select mask out part of Einstein's scalp there to begin with. Okay, so I think that would be fine. And I'm going to go to the light box here, go to Fibers, and I'm going to start out using the Fibers 160 ZFB. This is the best from what I've seen on doing hair. You guys can explore some of the hairs available here if you want, but I'm going to use Fibermesh 160. If you find what you like, just double click on it, turn off light box, and we're going to see a hair that looks like came from a horror movie, but we're going to have to adjust the settings for it. Scroll down and you're going to find fiber mesh here. Click on that. And then you're going to go to modifiers. Now there are some settings here that we need to fix. First thing is going to be the gravity. Set the gravity to -1. I like to set it to -1 so that the hair is off the character's face. So now it's up there. And I'm going to go to the color. So we have the base color. So this base color is the color from the hair roots to the middle. And the tip is going to be the color of the tip here. So we got different areas there that's going to be filled with color. And for the base, I'm just going to make it a little bit of, it's not going to be pure white, just maybe a little bit tint of gray there. And then for the tip, I'm going to make it pure white. So now we see it there. And I'm going to go to max fibers. Now the max fibers is the amount of hair strands there's going to be on this group of hair. So I'm going to just set the max fibers to 5. And for the length is going to be how long the hair is going to be. So right now, just doing Einstein. I'm not doing a girl's hair. It's not a long hair, so it's still long for a guy, but not that much. So I'm just gonna have to bring down the length of that. Bring it down to 800. So depending on the character you have, you might want to mess around with these values. And you have to visualize your character's hair let down as you are adjusting this. Coverage is going to be, see this setting here, this is also important. This is going to be how thick the hair is. So right now, if I render this out using the BPR render here, you will see that the hair is just too thick. It looks like it's grass, like made out of grass. So I don't want it that thick. So for the coverage, I'm going to set that to 10. And if I render this again, just to see, look at the changes. So you have to render stuff out as you adjust your settings to see if it's exactly what you want. Okay, so I like that better. And for the tip, the scale tip, which is going to be the settings here, the scale tip is going to be the tip, the ends of Einstein's hair here. So I actually want it to be a little thicker than the base. So I'm going to adjust the scale tip to 0.7. And what else do we have to adjust here? The segments, we also have to adjust. What are segments exactly? What are they? Now, for each single hair, there's going to be points on each hair strand that you're going to be able to manipulate in ZBrush, although the points are not visible, and each single hair is made out of CVs that you could use the sculpting brush to move it. Now, I'm going to have to set this to 15 so that I'm going to be able to move it with ease. 15. Now, if you're gonna have a character that's going to have curly hair, you might want to set it higher than 15. But right now, Einstein's hair is not super curly. I mean, there's a little bit of curls there, and it's a little wavy, but it's not super curly like that. So I'm just gonna leave it at 15. And once I'm happy with the settings here, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to be saving it so that later on I could open it. See the buttons? And use those exact same settings for the rest of the sections of the hair that I need. And I might also use them for, I'm going to use them for my mustache too. And of course, I'm going to have to adjust the settings for the mustache, but it's a good start. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Save. And then later on, I could open it again, reload it, and use that same settings that we have here. And then I'm going to click on Accept to accept this. And then it's going to ask, do you want a fast preview for the fibers? Yes, I do. I don't want it to lag, so I'm just click yes. So now if I go to my subtool, there's the new subtool with the Fibermesh on there. If I hover my mouse over it, there it is. It has its own subtool. Now I could start manipulating this hair, adjusting it, combing it so that it looks like Einstein's. So we can have something like Einstein's there. Now, before I start manipulating this with the brushes and ZBrush, I'm going to have to adjust something here. I'm going to go to the brush menu. I'm going to go to Fibermesh, go to preserve length. Make sure that the preserve length is at 100, so we are preserving the length of the hair. And I'm also going to go to front collision tolerance. This is very important if you want to be able to manipulate your hair, shape out your hair with ease. Set it to 0. What that does is it prevents you from breaking through the visible fibers during sculpting. Whatever you see visible in the eye, that's the thing you're going to be able to move. But if you set it at 0, you will be able to manipulate all fibers much better. Okay, now I'm going to go to my brushes, and the brush that I'm going to be using mainly, the brushes I'm going to be using mainly to manipulate the hair are going to be the Groom Hair Toss, Groom Lengthen, and Groom Turbulence. Now I'm going to start out with a Groom Hair Toss. So using the Groom Hair Toss, I'm just going to just comb it. And I forgot to do something here. I'm just going to make sure I turn off spotlight projection. So I'm just going to comb this, comb that. I like to start from the front and then go on the side and just bring it down, comb it down. And what I also like to do, I like to bring down the intensity of the brush a little lower. 36 would be good. And I could use the move brush to just move the hair a bit. And if you see the hair is a little too short, you could always use the move brush to just move things. Move it down. Okay, so we got one part of his hair there. Let me see how it looks like when it's rendered. Okay, so now I'm going to do is I'm going to mask out the other areas of his scalp to extrude out some hair. I'm going to go to my face here of Einstein, solo that. I'm going to make sure I unmask the previous mask that I've done. Turn off solo. And I'm going to do the other part here. Just go back to front. Okay, so that would be fine. I'm going to go to my Fibermesh. And if you guys remember the Fibermesh that I saved before, I'm just going to go ahead and open that up. Fiber here. And I'm just going to accept that because the settings are the way that we want it. And just going to my groom hair toss and just start grooming it again. So starting from the front and then going from the side and just moving it down, combing it down. There you go. And using the move brush, you're just gonna lift it up. It looks a little flat. So move brush is a very essential tool with just sculpting the fiber mesh. This fiber mesh is actually made out of polygons. So what you're doing is you're just shaping out the geometry. That's what you're doing here. Unmask that. Make sure you unmask the previous thing that you masked because you don't want to add, uh, repeat the same area to fiber mesh. Now I'm going to do this part here. Just masking this side. Check your reference to see where your hair starts and where it ends. Going to fiber mesh, open, bring up my old fiber mesh that I used before and accept, press yes. It's the same process. You just go and apply your fiber mesh and then you groom it and then you shape it out. Checking, making sure that my brush is at fiber mesh is at 0. Yes, it is. I'm just going to, now you see that it starts to go inside the mesh there. That's no problem. Just use the move brush. You just bring it out again. Just looking at the flow, the direction of his hair. So it's going that way. And using the hair toss. Okay, move brush to just, I could also solo that and look at the mesh by itself. So just using the move brush to move it in place. And just bring it down. And if you see that the hair is a little too long, a way to shorten it is you could hold the shift key and just smooth it out. So you could shorten it that way. And if you want to lengthen it, you want to make it longer, you could go to the groom lengthen brush and you could just comb it to make it longer. Right now, I'm going to have to shorten this out. Just pay attention to the length of your character's hair. So for Einstein there, it looks like it stops right there by the ear. And just use the move brush to move the fibers. Okay, let me just see what I have so far when it's rendered. So right now everything just look clean. We're gonna have to add some turbulence to the hair in a minute. But right now I'm just making sure all the hair that I need are there. And I'm gonna have to fill this area up with hair too. So I'm going to my subtool where I have Einstein's head, solo that, making sure I unmask the previous mask. And doing this part here now. Going to Fibermesh, load it up, accept it, and press yes. Room hair tossed. Yeah, when I first started out doing Fibermesh, it was a struggle just to control this. Yes, it was. But I figure out some ways to make it easier with the settings that I've just shown you guys from the beginning. I think it's pretty cool how we are able to just comb it real live, interactively, comb the hair. Kind of pretty cool. And using the move tool, just move it down. And then just being able to sculpt it with all the brushes that we have. You could use all the brushes here in ZBrush to manipulate the hair. You can use the standard brush, the inflate brush, damn standard brush, the groom brushes here. You can use any brush to shape this out. Unmask that. And the last part is going to be this. Okay, open, load that up, accept. Just groom it to the side. And using the move brush, just move it. Smooth it out to shorten it. And you could always go back to your old fiber mesh, all the previous fiber mesh that you've created, and adjust it again as needed. Let's look at what we have so far. Render this out, BPR render. Now, what we need to do is add some curls, a little bit of curls here on Einstein. So this part here is a little curlier than that, but I think I'm gonna go more for this type of curl. So if you want to curl your character's hair, you could go to the groom twister brush, groom twister brush, and you could adjust your brush size and just sculpt away. So you could make some curls that way. And if I render this out, let's see how it looks. So we see a little curliness going on there. And I just don't like how we could really see that there's a division here between the hair groups. So I'm going to have to fix those. So just going back to this group of hair at the top here, this, and then I'm going to go to my move brush and just move it down to kind of just blend in with the side here, with the side hair. So what I'm doing is I am just trying to bring these two groups of hair closer together around this area using the move brush. Could also use the inflate brush to just inflate it a bit. All right, let's check it out again. Probably could use a little bit, probably inflate it a little bit more and just move it a bit. And move this down. And also do the same thing here. And here. Just bringing them together to kind of blend it in. Inflate it. Inflate it using the inflate brush. Make this area a little thicker. Move this down. Bring this down a bit. And what I could do is I could use the Turbulence brush to add some hair strands, some more hair strands. If you guys look here, the little hair strands sticking out. That could be achieved by using the Broom Turbulence brush. And this area here, this group of hair needs to have a little bit more variation. Crank that up a bit. Maybe a little bit here also. And going in this part here and just breaking that up. Oops, not too much. Careful with that. Going back to the side hair here. And just adding some turbulence on there. We get that crazy Einstein hair there. Also on the side here, a little too straight. Okay, let's see how it looks when it's rendered. And there it is. This is actually looking nice. I like this area here. I like how I did that. See those hair strands? It gives more realism to the hair. And I see that this part here looks a little too clean, so I'm just going to have to break that up using Turbulence. Turbulent brush again. Play around with your brush size. See which one is going to be more effective for what you're trying to do there. And your character's hair that you might be doing, if you're not doing Einstein, just make sure that you adjust the settings to match the type of hair that your character needs. And I think probably here on this side needed a little bit of breakup based on what I've seen in the render. And maybe a little bit of turbulence here. You could also solo your hair to focus on one group of hair at a time. Let's see what we have here. All right, so much better. We got the hair strand going on there. Very nice, very nice. Now I could look at the back and everything is straight here. So I'm just going to go to each of those hair group and then just use the groom turbulence brush to just do a little breakups there. And I could also use the groom twister to just curl those out a bit. So this is also a way to blend the hair together using the turbulence and a little bit of twist. Doing fiber mesh can take a lot of time, but the end result is really good. So I suggest you take your time. Right, and just turbulence that. Same with this hair here, just add a little bit turbulence. Just rendering. There you go. And I could definitely use another hair group here. I'm going to do it on the other side. Make sure that you have the previous mask unmasked. So both sides open. Load up the old fiber mesh. And of course, going to have to fix some settings here. The length is not going to be as high, so maybe around 100, probably 60. Okay, I think that's good, and accept. Press yes. Turn off solo, and groom hair strong. Just groom that down, and you could smooth it out to shorten it as needed. All right. See how it looks like. Let's change the light up a bit. I like to set the light slightly above because when we are, it's artificial light or the sun, it's always above us, the light. So rendering using the BPR render, see how it looks like. All right, so we got that going on there. I think that we need to do a little breakup here. It looks a little too clean around that area. So going to the groom turbulence, and let's try groom twist on that too. A little bit twisting. And probably use the move brush to move it up a bit. Right. Render it. All right, so we got some breakup there, like which is that this here is kind of stubborn, that area. So now what I could do is I could go to my mesh here, unmask that, and I could mask out a part here, just a little bit of the scalp, and then extrude out a fiber mesh from there. Maybe that will add a little bit of breakup there, and probably we don't need as much maximum fibers there. So just bring that to 2. Actually, I'll set it to 1. And probably 0.2. So we don't need that much at all. 0.3. There you go. And accept it. Okay. This is just to add breakup to our geometry here, to our hair. It's a little hard to see because it's thinner, but that's how it is. You use the move brush to move it down. I think that should give it the breakup that we need there. And maybe I could do a little bit of twisting there. Let's see how that plays out. All right, so it did add a little bit of something there. And what I could do is I could actually move that down a little lower. So if I go to the move tool and try to move this down, you see I'm not really able to move the root down, the roots of the hair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to brush and go to auto masking and turn off auto mask fiber mesh. And just by turning that off, what I could do is I could actually move the roots also. I could move the hair and I could move the roots. So maybe here, wherever we need, moving it where we need the breakup. It looks like. So just testing and rendering things out to see how it looks. We got that there. I think that we need to smooth that out. Probably add a turbulence on there. There you go. Render again. There you go. So just by adding simple things like this and going back and masking another part of the scalp and extruding out a fiber mesh adds a little more variation to the entire hair. In the next section of the course, we are also going to use fiber mesh for the mustache and for the eyebrows. So I'll see you there.